Welcome to the AXPONA Audio Insider Podcast. My name is Lenny Florentine, and I have with me today from American Sound, Angie Lisi. What's up, Angie? How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Yourself?
I am fantastic. It's cold, not as probably cold as where you're at, but you might be warmed up by that large speaker behind you and the music coming from your room. So that's just amazing. Look at that. That is wild. Is that one of the brands we're talking about today?
Yes, that would be Avantgarde, a company from Germany.
That's amazing. So we're going to talk about three different brands that you guys carry as a distributor in the U.S. So it's Avantgarde.
Yes, it's
And what are all three?
It's Rethm, and it's the Perpetuum turntables, known as PE turntables. And the distribution of these products is for North America, not just Canada or US. So
Oh, that's
it's
exciting.
both Canada and the US.
And you're in Canada.
I happen to be in Canada where it's nice and cold.
It is nice. I can't. How cold is it in Canada?
It's about -10, -11.
That is wild. I
Yeah,
couldn't imagine. Couldn't even
yeah.
imagine. So, three really great product lines. But before we get into them, we want to kind of learn a little bit about you. And you've been in the industry for a little while. So, tell us a little bit about your journey in the industry.
Well, a short version. Got into it by accident, lost my job. My employer was so impressed with me. He says he has someone who needs a person to work in the shop, happened to be an audio shop. That was the beginning of where I am today. Latched onto a technician. He taught me a lot of things on how things work. So I got fascinated by the equipment. And then, of course, growing up the time that I did, there was a lot of good music out there. So I became a monster that I am today.
I just love hearing about that, like, golden age of audio, or the like the stereo war era of the 1970s, and every decade has something defined every decade, but something about like the 70s. I'm a vintage audio guy myself. I love all that stuff. I collect that kind of stuff. And I just love to hear different stories from that era. So it's so much fun. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about those three brands. So the Avantgarde Speakers, which you obviously see right behind you,
Hmm.
and the PE turntables, and then the Rethm, is that, what kind of product is that?
That's a wideband speaker. And we're going to be introducing a new model, a new concept at the AXPONA show. So I'm very excited to launch this. We've shown rhythm in the past in a dedicated room, but this year will be quite special. So I invite everybody to have a listen. Jacob George, who is the proprietor, he will be in the room as well and launching this new model.
Okay, so what new model is this? Because I'm not the most familiar. I've probably heard them at the shows. I go to all the shows, so I hear all kind of stuff, but I'm not totally familiar. But from what I'm seeing on the website, there's some really nice looking speakers. What is the new model? Can we talk about the name?
Well, we don't have a name of it yet. It's that new. It's just being birthed. It's at its ninth day, ninth month. So it's just being birthed. We haven't got a name yet, but I will tell you that it will be a sign of what the future will be in speakers. It will be a real life speaker in that it will fit in anyone's home. So it won't be, 7 feet tall and 3 feet wide. It will be a realistic speaker that anyone can afford and really enjoy what it does.
It's very exciting. And how long has this company been around?
They've been around now coming on to 23, I want to say 24 years.
Okay, and I have the Arca pulled up right now.
Yes.
This is a very interesting looking speaker. Can you tell me about this one?
Yeah, the Arca would be the bookshelf model, but what's unique about it, it has a tube, if you see that little tube in the front, and that's driving the wideband driver that's in the front. And then there's a separate amplifier that drives two 6.5 inch drivers that are within the cabinet. So all you need there is a source, and you're off to the races. So this is going to be a little intro of what the new model will be like. It'll be quite unique and special.
So this is an active speaker,
It's an
and then
active
you
speaker.
just get yourself a nice streaming source or a turntable or
Well,
anything.
turntable is a bit different because you need a preamp and all that. But most streamers or DAC streamers now have volume control. So you can have that one piece, plug that into the speaker, and you're done as a system.
Well, that's perfect. That that makes sense. A lot of people like that, minimum component. And there's there's people that build big systems like you have behind you, and there's some people that just like one or two things, and that's it. And that really, I think that's more of a current times thing. What people are doing, very minimalistic. It's just amazing looking. So it was my first introduction. So I'm very interested to see what the future of speakers is at
Well,
Expona.
the Avantgarde speaker follows the same path. The Avantgarde speakers have several models that are fully active or have the option of being one or the other. So it's the same thing. So I happen to be doing two lines of speakers that believe what I believe, that the future in audio is going to be incorporating amplification and all you need in the speaker. So that's true of Avantgarde as well in their entire lineup. So they
So
don't have
I'm
just one model, they have several models to offer.
But what is the model behind you?
This is the big baby. That's called the Trio. And you can add a number of subs to it. You can add a pair of subs to it. I happen to have six, which is the big stuff here.
Okay, so that's the subwoofer.
Those are just the subwoofers, and they are
Wow.
fully active with a 1,000 watt amp built in. So they take care of themselves. I don't need to buy another 60 or $80,000 amplifier to power each of them. They're taking care of themselves. And the horn here is where we have the option. I can run a separate little tube amp because keep in mind, they're very high efficiency. They are 107 decibels at 1 watt. I don't need but 2 watts to get these going. So I can use my external amp if someone has it, drive the horns, or I can buy what's called the iTron amplifier, which is designed by Avantgarde. Patch it into the back of the speaker and you won't see any amplifier. Now you have a fully active system. And again, you just have your sources.
What do people's faces look like when they come into the room and hear these speakers? Because these are just from walking into the room, I can imagine people are just enamored by the size, the look. They're very different, and they have the three horn or what
Right.
is it a horn
Horns, yeah.
on them. So they're you're not even seeing it right now, and hopefully I'll get a picture up while we're talking about this, but. That's not even the biggest horn on it. The one that's lower down is, and then
Yes,
there's a smaller one as well.
that's correct. That's the tweeter.
So
That's
what
in
is
the
the
middle.
reaction? What kind of reaction do these get?
Well, I mean, they take their breath. What? Wow, wow is the common word used. And the other thing they think is, no, they're going to hurt my ears. It's going to be too loud. And they're not. They're gentle giants, is what they are. They project a true to life performance. They go beyond your ears and go right into, I say they pulse your heartstrings because once I play a piece of music for them, they are almost paralyzed because it's a contradiction what you see and what you hear. The gentleness, the realness, the liveness of the speaker overtakes them, and most of them become quiet. Or I get the opposite. They want to dance because they're feeling the music.
So in this design, it's a very unique design, but is there something you can tell me about maybe how it's why it's shaped like this, why it has the horns in these positions? What's the, idea
So
behind it?
the whole thing about the horns is that it's a spherical medium. That means it will dissipate the frequencies that's coming out of the speakers at an even keel. The material that they use makes sure that it's constant all the time. Making it out of a different material like a natural wood would be affected by the environment that it's in. So if I'm in South America versus Toronto, so with the material that they use here, it retains its shape. Why different sizes? because they're doing different frequencies in a loudspeaker. The tweeter is doing the detail in cymbals and stuff like that. Then you have the two mid-range drivers, which, by the way, the big one on the bottom is not doing bass. It's doing mid-bass. So there's a speed to it, an accuracy to them. So they are pretty ruthless. If you've got excellent material, you will hear the best you can from that music.
And this design is not only used in this speaker, but some of the other speakers in the lineup as well.
It's trickled down right to the smallest model, which is called the Zero. What we did there is they sort of hid the shape of the horns by it looks like a flat panel. So that's still a horn speaker, but it's more for domestic acceptance, if you will. The other thing about the speaker is they have a DSP technology into them. So what that allows me to do is I can place a speaker in any size of a room and contour the speaker to fit. And that's usually done in the bass frequencies.
I bet, and I'm sure I've seen these at the show. I've seen these in pictures too. Like I feel like these end up everywhere. Like everybody's looking at these because of not only how they sound but how they look as well. So speakers aren't the only thing that you carry. You have turntables and the PE turntables, and these they have a very interesting look to them. Like it's not overdone.
Yes, that's my recent add-on to my distribution line. And what attracted me to it is the simplicity of it. It's elegant, and but the other thing is that this company's been around. It's in Germany, and it's been around a long, long time. The original PE, for short, goes back to 1911, and there's a lot of history in the factory itself. There are other companies that got involved with them, one of them being the Thorns turntable. The other is the dual turntable. Both are which have their own history, but this is where they have come from. And PE is doing a rebirth. They're coming back with something that I think will attract this generation now, which likes clean, simple, and not intimidating. It's not at all difficult to use. So that's the second attraction. But the lineage too is very attractive.
I think that's the exact verbiage that I would use, because looking at these, they're not intimidating, and you can tell they're made very well. I see the lineage from both Dual and Thorns, like how it kind of fits into that mold, if you might say. But they're very nice. I'm looking at like the PE 4040, which has that
Yes.
wood plinth. Now, all the tables, are they sectioned? Is it one piece and just like kind of sectioned over where the tone arm is? How's the
No,
build of these tables?
it's two separate pieces, and that adds to the suspension. There is a little suspension on the table as well. Now, the 4040 that you happen to target, that is the only one that uses an arm that Thorns made for PE. The rest of them are their own arms. So we have packaged them to add to the simplicity. We have packaged them with Ortofon cartridges, which is a Danish company, and they pair up really, really well with it. And the unique thing about the top of the line one, because the rest of them are all belt drive, but the 7070 uses a direct drive motor. But aesthetically, they look very similar to each other. The family resemblance remains.
I absolutely love that. And so I do enjoy a direct drive motor. I a lot of times I feel turntables are about like choice of how you want them to function, and that could be a number of ways: belt, direct drive. I like a semi-automatic and stuff because I like to move around the house and that kind of stuff. How does that kind of play in to sound with a turntable? That's like kind of a debate, like as far as like the direct drive versus a belt drive. If you were to, somebody might just say, well, you hear a belt drive might be quieter, but a direct drive might be like maybe more precise. Is there a good like explanation you can give between? You've been in this a long time. I know a good reasoning behind this. What is the difference between a belt drive and a direct drive as far as listening?
Well, people that are pitch sensitive might find the direct drive to be where they should go. And the reason is the speed adjustment. You do have in most direct drives, if not all direct drives, a speed control. And that is what's affecting the pitch of your playback of your record. Belt drive tends to be more, let me just say, safe in the sense of reliability. There is a sound difference between the two. You'll see that now, even in the high end world, we're coming back to direct drive. Most turntables that were 50,000 plus were belt driven. And there's still those that believe in belt drive. The nice thing is that we have the choice to choose one or the other.
I like that. That's a good explanation. I don't always think of that off the top of my head, but the people who may be sensitive to that pitch control, that's a great reason. I love learning things when talking to people that have way more experience than me. So that is amazing. I love it. What is there anything like very unique about these turntables that is like something that like if somebody just asked like about them and they had no idea? Is there like
Well,
something that makes them stand out?
I think that they're very well built. I think it's the alternative to the two or three brands that they may want to upgrade from. These tables are priced pretty reasonable. They start at about $3,800, and even the direct drive is under 15 grand. So it allows people that want to upgrade from the usual suspects, which I will name, a Project or a Rega, and want something that looks easier for the rest of the household to use. The worst thing is when, one of the guys buys a table, takes it home, and no one wants to touch it because it's scary. This is more welcoming for the whole family. So we can get the young generation looking at this and saying, all right, I'll play whatever that black disc is and get them excited. So for me to offer simplicity is hopefully a way to introduce younger people that might be more intimidated with all the separate components that we've been selling year after year, where they don't understand what a receiver is. They don't understand what a preamp or a power amp is. If we can make something simpler, more approachable, that perhaps we can get the younger guys not so scared about it and wanting to learn more about it.
And you chose to pair them with Ortofon cartridges. So
Yes.
I would love to ask, what about Ortofon cartridges do you like, and what was the reasoning? What kind of sound do they produce? What draws you to Ortofon?
Their lineage, they have a great reputation in the industry. They offer so many different models. And a lot of the times, what people forget about, why are all these models in existence? Because we cannot put any cartridge on any tone arm. There's the compatibility thing that you have to consider. And again, this somebody doesn't want to know about turntables. They just want to play a record. So this way we made it simpler and easier again to say, okay, here you go. You don't have to think anymore. It's already done professionally for you. This is where we think you should start. Now, you can go up the scale, you can go to a different product, but we want to start you off with the best foot forward first. And then you can play and experiment.
So which one of the tables are you going to have at Expona this year? Do you know yet?
Well, I'm going to try to have every single one if I can.
That's a great ad. I love that. Like it'd be nice to see them all if you can do that. That'd be absolutely amazing. As far as the other brands, the Avantgarde, what speakers are you bringing?
I'm still trying to figure it out because I do want to bring, we've brought the trios 3 times to Expona, and we're introducing, last year we did the one down from this. I think I want to come down to a more realistic playing field. I think Avantgarde's been around now for over almost 35 years plus. They know people who know Avantgarde, but I want to bring Avantgarde to the people who don't know Avantgarde. So I want to start with perhaps the entry level. We have a new line called the Calibri that we launched. Very affordable. They're $4,000 each. No one would think Avantgarde to be $4,000. or the Zeros at $26,000. So I think I want to bring a more street worthy, if you will, I don't know, a more realistic for more consumers instead of just the high end, which is such 0.001% of the industry. I want to expand and let people know that Avantgarde is there for you in your entry level and onwards.
And I gotta ask, because I know there's people wondering, the speakers in the subwoofer behind you,
Yes.
how much are they?
Well, thinking that imagine that there's, $1 million speakers out there today and you have to buy electronics and all of that. We were very privileged that Absolute Sound placed them on the front cover. We're privileged that they rated them as no cost object. And we were amongst in the elite speakers that would have been no cost, fairly inexpensive. So the whole system with 6 subs is under $500,000.
Oh,
I'm
wow. I
very
was
proud
actually
of that.
guessing a lot higher than that. So you're
I'm very proud of that.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
It's still, it's still a high end,
absolutely. There's
high
no
dollar.
question. No
But
question.
but like I was thinking much higher. So there we go. That's a win, right?
Yeah, it's a win
Amazing.
in several aspects. So I'm very proud of to be involved with them.
That's awesome. You guys are on the cover of that. And then you have Rethm. That is going to be the future of speakers that you're going to have at the show. So we got a great lineup. You're going to have a lot of, I can't wait to come see you at the show and listen. It's going to be amazing.
And we'll have more stuff there for the insane people. I'll have a tone arm that's going to be like $28,000 for just the tone arm. So there's other things. These are the featured 3 products, absolutely. But we will have other toys for the insane side of the world in
I think
audio.
that's always an attraction for this show. Like, I think it expands to all different ranges of audiophiles and people maybe just getting into it. But then you're right. The insane stuff is an attraction to the show.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you won't see this anywhere else.
It's not something you will see in every corner audio place. So the AXPONA shows a great forum to see the insane. But also, let's get real and show real products that is obtainable for more people.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see you there. I can't wait to check out all the speakers and especially the turn. I'm very interested in the turn. I'm a vintage audio guy. I kind of like the turntables and the look of them and the story behind them. So can't wait to see and hear more about that. But I thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Great time. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Lenny, and thanks to AXPONA for doing all this. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to have everybody there. It's going to be a great time. But for the Audio Insider podcast, I am Lenny Florentine, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.